Hi everyone, my name is Jess and today I'm going to share with you my top 10 tips on cold calling. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. It would help me out a lot and you'll be reminded that every single Monday I do post new content. Okay, so you are here because you need to get better at cold calling. Let me tell you, when I first started in cold calling, I was so nervous. We were in these rows and everybody was shiny and new into sales and we were dialing and receiving calls and doing calls. And I almost needed a few months, some people a little longer, but I almost needed a few months to just get comfortable with making mistakes and getting rejected in front of my peers and colleagues. It was so intimidating to screw up being, I think I was 21, and good times. So if you're in this place and you're doing cold calling, these tips are for you because they've helped me along the way and I love cold calling now. Maybe I'm the first to say it, but there are a ton of people out there that also love cold calling. So we'll go right into the tips today. Number one tip of cold calling is research. There's nothing worse than just going through a line of numbers, hundreds of numbers, or even 10 numbers, and not knowing anything about the potential prospect. What do they do as an organization? Who are they hiring? What type of roles exist? What are their financial goals? What are their vision and mission and anything like that? The typical research that I do when I'm cold calling or calling on a prospect is, what have they done the last 5 years, right? What type of jobs are they currently hiring today? Because that tells me where they want to go. Then I look at some of the people on LinkedIn, I do some research, I try to read what are they commenting on or what are they reacting to on LinkedIn. Sometimes there's nothing, sometimes there's a lot of great information out there. And that's really how I start. And then my number two tip would be, if you are starting out in sales and you don't know your brief and you don't know what you're talking about and you don't have that knowledge, is you need to write a script. What sounds good? You are calling them, you need to grab their attention within 10 seconds or 5 seconds. What is going to be that pitch? And then practice it, right? Practice your script until you create a new script in your head that makes sense and that you believe and you know yourself. Every role I've ever been in, whether it was a leader role or an individual contributor role where I'm calling on customers, I have to have something written down. I need some sort of points to guide me until you're doing it 15 to 20 times a week. Then you're not going to need a script. But to start, you absolutely need something written down. Most of the time when people aren't having their knowledge or they don't have that brief down, you can tell. I can always tell when someone calls on me and they have not prepared anything. So script. Number three, someone commented a couple weeks ago on this, but active listening is so important. I was so bad back in the day, getting better now at active listening. Just keeping the mouth quiet, listening, asking questions, validating their response, making sure that you understand what they're saying, and just stop talking. I think back in the day when I was 21, I remember listening to one of my phone calls because they used to record them a lot, and hearing, I would ask a question and then I would just keep talking. I think it was like Microsoft Office. I said, hey, do you want the new Office 2003 or whatever the version was? And then I said, oh, you probably have one already, so you don't need one. I would just keep answering the question as I was asking it, and I was horrible at listening. So if you're gonna remember anything about cold calling, active listening, you of course need to get their attention, but active listening is very important. Now, number four would be objection handling. Usually within the first 30 seconds of doing a phone call, you need to handle the rejection and handle the objection of, now is not a good time. Now is not a good time. And that is what you typically hear. And I'm currently mentoring with someone that's maybe doing 30 dials a day, and he receives, it's not a good time. And how are you going to be able to get them on the phone and keep them on the phone is the key. Now, what I like to do is use Copilot or ChatGPT, whatever I'm selling, I put the information in there and go, what would be the top 5 or top 3 objections that a customer would potentially say to me on the phone? Get that list and then start practicing of how you would, retrofit that objection that they give you. It helps me so much, and I'm quite, 14 years into selling. It will help you. So, but depending on what your product is and what you're selling and who you're selling to, put that in an AI tool, whether it's Copilot, ChatGPT, any open AI tool that will help you significantly, and then start to practice those objection handling things. Number 5 would be tone. If you're doing telesales, telemarketing, and you're calling, nothing is worse than hearing monotone or someone sad or angry or like just not into doing their job. They used to do this thing back in the day that would put a mirror on your desk and you would look at yourself and start laughing when you're calling. That skill or that thing has not gone away. So get a mirror, start looking at how ridiculous you look when cold calling, and you will make yourself laugh, which in turn, you will start smiling and have a better tone when talking to customers. Tone is everything. Number 6 would be setting goals. What is the point of cold calling? What is the end goal in mind? Is it to just get a second call? Is it to show them a demo? Is it to do a video conference? Is it to go on site and visit them personally? Is it to bring a coffee? What is the goal? That is so important to set prior to even jumping on the phone. Is what's the point of even doing this job? That will probably set the tone as well for you. Do that, write those goals down, and then keep practicing them. Number 7 would be, once you do that cold call, if you get a voicemail or you get someone that's like, I'm busy, just send me an email, actually follow up. There's so many moments. Actually today, somebody called me and they said, I will send you the information by email. That was 4 hours ago. I still haven't received that email. Nothing is worse than a sales rep that calls me, bothers me out of my busy day, and then doesn't send a follow-up email or do what they said they were gonna do. So it's so important when cold calling, follow up. You will then get a better relationship from doing what you said. 8 would be learning. Constantly learning, constantly adjusting your pitch, what's working, what's not. You are your biggest critic. So I think it's very important that when you do all of these things and you research and you dial and you're doing 30 dials a day, what are you learning? Are you just doing the same type of call every day expecting a different result? You know what they say about those people. So start learning, start doing something different, and start tweaking your pitch. I've been in this new role for over 4 months now, and I will tell you significantly, week after week, my pitch changes. I learned something new about a customer that maybe said something in manufacturing or retail, and then I slowly adjust how I talk to the next customer, even if it's 5-second difference. I change and I learn and I adapt. Every day we should be learning. Number 9 would be, can you guess? Be persistent. Be persistent. Be consistent. I like that. Be consistent and be persistent. Do not stop. When you are getting momentum, keep on going. You are going to get rejection. That's called cold calling. It's not called warm calling for a reason. So keep on going. You can do this. It's going to take sometimes 100 calls, 50 calls, 200 calls to finally get someone on the phone that wants to hear your sales pitch. And if you get to 200 calls, you are significantly better than when you did that initial call. The slowest success rate and the slowest sales reps take forever to get on the phone and just start being persistent in what they believe in. Every time I've been a sales leader or even a mentor in people's lives, it is always those persistent people that win time and time again. So if you can learn anything, learn that skill of persistence. It does pay off. You cannot learn to cold call overnight and be amazing at it. It takes practice, years of practice. So start now and be consistent with it. And lastly, I always ask you guys for feedback. So I got cut off. There was a space issue. Lastly, ask for feedback. Most of the time when I finish a sales call, I will always ask, and people are caught off guard that I ask for feedback. After doing a YouTube channel on sales and mentoring and being a leader and all of the experience that I have, people are really shocked that I ask for feedback. I think it's so important to never stop asking for feedback. It doesn't matter if you're 18 or 65 or 90. Asking for feedback is so important in sales because you get another perspective and a different person with different experience and a different view on you. So that is super important to do. And that would be my 10 tips on cold calling. I really think the most important one is active listening. That one everyone can work on, whether it's your personal life or your work life. And if you like this video or you don't, please give me feedback. Comment below. I love reading your comments. I love hearing where you're from and what you want next. So feel free to give me a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe, and I will see you next week. Take care.